Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Productivity Mastery. Today, we continue with the new format perform in times of crisis. The last couple of years and beyond, there have been plenty of global events, global crises. So, my co-author, Cristobal Alonso, the CEO of Startup Wise Guys, and I decided to start working on a sequel of our book, Perform the Unsexy Truth About Startup Success. And the sequel will be called Perform in Times of Crisis. And our mission is to find those tools, practical strategies from the people who are doing that, the leaders of the world, all the way from executives from global companies to entrepreneurs from our region, the so-called New Europe region, because that's one thing that we got as a feedback from the first book. I cannot relate so much to, Mark Zuckerberg and Jeff Bezos. They have different kind of challenges, and while we can learn some things from them, I love to learn from the people who are building successful companies in our region. And I have a great person for the job today, Georgi Malchev, who's the managing partner at Xplora, one of the best agencies in the region that he grew to over 70 people today. They're doing amazing stuff. I just love what they do. But beyond that, I find Georgi to be a great leader. And I every time I have a cup of coffee with him, I'm learning a lot. And in fact, last week we had this inspiration coffee together, and we decided it would be great to hear his lessons in managing crisis. Georgi, good morning. I can see you sharing the links right now with your audience.
Yeah, yeah, just amplifying the message and the reach.
That's how the marketers do, man. Like
Yeah.
the head is working all the
There are
time.
huge discussions how much time you should spend on content creation and on content distribution. You had an amazing episode on podcasts. We do have a podcast on marketing, so yeah, distribution is very very important.
For sure. Okay, let's get to the point, Georgi. If you're ready with the links, right?
With one of the channels, but I will manage with the second one. Yeah.
Okay, fantastic. Let's go to the point. Perform in times of crisis. How long you've been running the company now, and what were some of the crises that you guys had to go through, like that were really impacting Xplora as a company?
Just a second, because you had an amazing episode with Howard, and when trying to share it, I'm just seeing his event. Okay, so you are the one to share in Facebook. I will not be able.
These are the
Let's
marketers, man. These are the
let's
marketers. You
let's
get them on a podcast, and they
yeah, in a couple of minutes when it's back your turn, I will share it. The journey started 7 years ago when we created Xplora with two of my partners. We have gone through jointly with them, with each of them through great times and challenging times. And Ever since we have been growing, it has been an amazing journey. We went through the COVID time, and you can guess we had the experience of the supply and the demand side total shutdown, but we managed actually to help clients with a lot of marketing insights, and we will discuss with you three models that will be very very helpful. And a lot of our clients actually benefited from even the very first shock that happened, and then when we were able to help them to scale. Otherwise, I have over 25 years of business experience, so the agency part is less than a third of it. Now we are 70 people. We have a specific academy, Explore Academy, which is focused on trainings, workshops, and so on. In terms of clients, they are really long-term clients working with some of the top three in their respective industry. For most people, I believe Schneider Electric, Wiesmann, Wienerberger, Alpro would be very, very recognizable names. Acer, and of course many other companies that are local leaders or Bulgarian companies that actually are doing amazing uh, job on global or on a European scale.
Fantastic. And this is some of the reason. If you have to share any link, Georgi, go ahead, do it now, or you're done.
I'll share in the comments.
Let's do it afterwards. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
That's the reason I want to.
We have actually made the website very Google conversational style. So if you're looking at the trends, people now enjoy really the TikTok format and so on. But if you look, all these companies, they are very data driven, and they are making a lot of tests. And all the content that Google generates in terms of insights, in terms of adding value, is very well sequenced. So we start with small bits and then you add more and more, and people are the one that are extracting the information, but in small bits and pieces. And so if you go to our website, you will enjoy it, and Google likes it a lot in terms of how we have approached. On every click, you would get more information. It's up to you where to go. You don't have swimming lanes and silos, so you cannot switch. Their swimming lanes, and then you decide, oh, that's nice, I will go to that one and that one.
Got it. So the reason
Xplora.bg.
Xplora.bg.
Xplora.
The reason I'm happy to discuss this topic with you. Let's go to the topic. Is I mean, again, you've been working with many of these big companies. You've been working, you know, yourself in large companies. So you have quite some experience navigating difficulties and navigating crises. So, what is the first thing a leader should do when you are presented with a crisis, be it a company crisis internally, something major, something happens, or be it a global crisis. Recently there was the COVID-19 pandemic, which hit the whole world in you know a matter of a weeks, and then the whole life and business world changed in just a few weeks. So what's the first steps a leader should do when a crisis hits?
I have a question back to you. Didn't you see actually that it was about to come? So the first thing is think how prepared you are, and acknowledge that it was your decision whether to prepare or not, how to prepare. So Howard made a great comment that actually they were cash abundant at the time of a crisis. They were well prepared because when faced with a crisis, they got the best of it in terms of improving processes, improving team preparedness, and so on. So my very first comment is you either have prepared enough or not. If you have not, then face it, and you should act more like a Rambo rather than a general of a very well structured and trained army. In our case, obviously I have gone with 26 years of experience through totally different challenges and so on. But when we're speaking about Explore, actually, the COVID hit was clear enough that it's going to happen. So we had done a lot of research. We had prepared what could have been prepared, and we started being um very transparent to the team, over communicating to them, something that you covered as well with Howard, and very important, always saying what's the course of strategy and what is the next step. So we'll cover with you a model. If you want,
Definitely.
we can cover it now.
Like I just want to rephrase here because I think it's really important what you're saying is, and maybe before we get into when the crisis hits, to what you're saying is you gotta be really good in anticipating and predicting when a crisis hits. Is there any kind of how do you do that? Like, do you sit with your partners every weekly and you're like looking into, hey guys, here's the stuff. I've heard about this thing happening. Should we pay attention? Like, how do we predict and analyze that there is something happening, be it internal or external?
Yeah. So the very important thing for you is to be totally clear that you make just one piece of communication to whoever you need, and everybody gets it, and they perform the way you have planned it. It never happens. So what you should actually do is understand what you're trying to communicate and how new the information is to people, so what additional information would they need, and then decide on what is the next step and how clear and hard to take it would be for the audience, so that you can decide how to plan the communication. So in my case, speaking about what is coming, it has not come yet to Bulgaria, so we are working about that part. But in my case, I have been communicating for 2 months now, different types of communication, then speaking with at different levels of the agency. So we have directors, we have managers, we have team leads, we have strategists, and so on, communicating relevant information. So what is coming, we will discuss with you the model with the three types of audiences. So one would be regarding how the crisis would affect them, and the other one would be the stage with the interaction with the company. But
I can't wait to get there. By the way, I just want to say hello. And this format, by the way, those of you who are listening live, is going to be more interactive than the usual Productivity Mastery podcast. That's more formal. Iskra is joining us, and I just want to say hello to her. Iskra is saying good morning, Stoyan and Georgie. Hey Iskra, great to see you. And then she says hashtag Rambo style, which is which is amazing. And I just want to
yeah,
invite I just want to
so
invite everybody.
I would ask you, how many Rambos can you have in your team and not have the egos clashing? And actually, there's amazing book by Jock Willing about extreme ownership and about leadership, and there's amazing example of how all these really well trained SEALs would actually hamper each other's effort, and they will miss critical information. Why? Because they will be Rambos, they will rucksack a specific building, so they will all go 5 times in a specific location, and nobody would go to search the bathrooms on the second floor, and so on. So it it took them just 1 hour to assess the situation, discuss what they will do next time. Some people, of course, were not okay. We are Rambos, of course, but on the very next time, actually, they saw that they improved, I believe, twice their performance, and then they were able to execute 3 searches by night. And then the most important thing is that what they achieved, so they needed to collect evidence and so on, was useful for the goal of the mission, which was actually to be able to collect evidence and so on. So going back going back to the topic, it's very, very important for you to understand that the moment you are in charge, you are the one to plan for everything is going to happen. So being a Rambo is fun, but Rambo, I believe, only in movies is bulletproof and makes the best decision every time. And if you look at it, there's just one Rambo and a couple of protagonists, and so it's very useful and effective for 90 minutes or
But Georgi, that's how
120
Hollywood.
minutes still.
No, but honestly, that's how, like, that's why we're working on this, right? It's like people look at movies, people look at the news, and you see all these great news about unicorns and companies that are smashing it. Every entrepreneur, every successful entrepreneur goes through a lot of difficulties, a lot of uncertainty, doubts, and so on. So I really want to go to to the core of the things. By the way, we have a question from Iskra. Iskra, I'm going to ask this question a bit because I want to cover a few other things before, so we can get there. But stay with us. We'll answer the question for sure. So let's go with the so-called 3S framework. I don't know. Maybe we should come up with a more
Yeah.
fancy
It's much
name, but
better
working title.
than it's yeah, yeah. I believe it's fun enough. Can I just ask you to share the wife in on your feed so that I can reshare it while I'm answering?
Yeah,
Okay,
sure.
so every meeting with Stoyan is amazing, and I need to limit these meetings because after the meetings I have really my head buzzing with a lot of ideas, and I need actually to implement them because ideas without implementation they're not worth it. We discussed with Stoyan how we should approach the topic, and we decided that it's a matter of making it very understandable and then giving the examples.
And
So we
by the way, that's the one of the key things when there's a crisis, where there is a stressful situation. You want to keep things simple, all right? Like, because you're under
our
stress, you want to keep it simple. So hopefully these kind of frameworks, and this framework that Georgi is going to share, could be useful for you next time that you're anticipating that something unexpected is about to happen. Go ahead,
once
Georgi.
again I would refer to Jock Willing's books and the idea about extreme ownership. So one of the key concepts is in order to win the battle is simple. The idea about commander's intent. So the team should know what the intent is, but you should not plan too much. And especially in times of crisis, how good are you? You asked me about the predictions and about the approach. So mm, you're definitely overestimating actually your capabilities to plan what is going to happen in 2 month time and so on. So you will adjust everything based on a change in consumers behavior or on budget restriction and so on. So going back to the topic, really simple is a very key concept. Actually, uh, unfortunately, it's only in Bulgarian, but you can go to my blog post. It's about extreme ownership in a hospital, in one of the largest hospitals in the capital city of Bulgaria, about a pregnant lady that was locked in the bathrooms on the second floor of the emergency area. And it was the day we had actually a bus falling down from a rock from a road, and it was a hell at that time, and nobody would help that woman. And actually, I used that approach not only to save the woman, save 7 8 hours there during the night, but actually to test how ready I am to implement the concepts. And of course, you are the one who has the extreme ownership and responsibility about thinking, planning, communicating, and so on, adjusting your behavior based on what happens. Malchev.net is the book, and you can just translate in Google if you want it. The 3S model is, Stoyan, if you remember, we started with situation. Whether it's COVID time, whether it's currently, you always need to think about the situation. You need to be a hyper realist. So that's what we do. That's what we did. That's what we said. Okay, we don't know what is going to happen. This is how things we are about to happen in terms of clients, in terms of costs, and so on. So the assessment of the situation is very important, and the agreement on the current
and,
situation.
and
So
ideally this happens, gathering this information and analysis happens even before the crisis is there, right? Like, ideally, I mean, sometimes you just presented with a situation and you couldn't predict it, but for the most part, if you can start analyzing, and is that correct?
I would say analyzing and doing. I shared with you a very popular blog post by Xplora that we created during the COVID time, and it was focused on marketers, and it was actually the idea about starting doing some things. So trying to analyze the market, trying to perform some tests. So the doing part is very important because it makes you feel more comfortable because you have a course of action that you have decided you are doing some things, and of course you are the one to decide what would be valuable when facing uncertainty. Obviously you should focus on validating things. So there are things you know, there are things you know you don't know, and you should start validating. So when we're about to speak about the three types of audiences in terms of relationship with your company, actually they are all related to what I have just covered. So the first part is the situation, and you need to have an agreement about the situation. So how do we have the deep cash pockets, or we are really very tight on that one? Do we have a client who is more we can expect that we will actually stop everything, or do we have some clients or partners, as I told you, and we will cover it in the second part of S, who are very reliant on us. So we have been together for 2 3 years, and obviously they will rely on us paying to them. So what happened at COVID time, it was like everybody uh, getting very stringent on the cash flow. We had CEOs of huge companies deciding on every 100 euros payment. And you should uh, assess that situation and be very realistic. Then the second part, you remember, obviously, strategy. You try, of course, to make it a little bit more complicated, a little bit more integrated, and so on. But strategy is strategy. So it could be like a very simple approach, or it could be a very detailed. I would suggest that you have a master strategy and then just a couple of bullets that, unless you have additional evidence, you don't change a
What do you
lot.
mean by master strategy?
The master strategy would be how you would cover. If you remember, we covered a couple of areas that actually are very integrated within your business model and you should think about. So the first of them is strategy about clients. So what we decided at that time, and I would advise everybody in whatever is coming and you are facing, is actually marketing information is key, because actually what you need is the signals from the market, be it what clients are starting to do, be it you have a competitor who is really struggling, so you could actually take upon the clients of that company. Or it could be the fact that new needs are emerging. So you need to be very clear about your approach to clients. In our case, we decided that we will help them by showing relevant marketing information. And you'll see in the next model that we are keeping referring to that it's very important to keep in mind people who are giving very strong signals. So they are giving signals. Yes, there's search for that one. So we have a client with mattresses, and then we had like, okay, nobody was buying mattresses, but we had totally new audiences staying for 7 10 minutes in specific sections of the website of the mattresses, sleeping mattresses company. What are they giving? It's a very strong intent. So obviously, this is something that we should communicate to some of our clients. We have a client; it's a European leader, and they had full stop on every advertising activity for Europe. Actually, we had two clients like that one, but because we showed them actual people behavior the way I just explained, they were the only in Europe who had not their advertising stopped at all. Why? Because okay, we are not selling, nobody is buying, but we have people who obviously are within our target at in a given moment. They would be easier to convert. Then, as we covered with you, we should entirely think about the team. You covered a lot of topics with Howard, but actually, the strategy about the team. In our case, we decided we are not going to lay off anyone. We will tell the team that the strategy would be, if needed, we'll reduce working time and so on. Everybody.
By the way, let's take here for a second. And by the way, those of you listening, we keep on referring to Howard. Georgi is talking about Howard Bihar, who's the founding president of Starbucks, and he was the first guest on Performing Times of Crisis. As I said, we like to mix up people, global executives, with entrepreneurs. You know, the successful entrepreneur next door. So just for those two, but let's stay with this one because I think it's really important. So you made a decision. We are not going to let anybody go, which I think is something that every leader should do when something major happens. Let's say COVID-19, right? And an agency like yours, or
You should
you're in
decide what
tourism, right?
you
You're
should
in
decide
some.
what the strategy is. Of course, you cannot commit. If you cannot commit to keep people, obviously you should not make that statement. In our case, we decided that this is something that we would like to do. You can see our slogan is human digital, and it refers both to clients, to partners, and to the team.
Man, so
And
sorry, sorry, just for a second. I'm so happy we went there because one of the chapters that in the upcoming book is going to be purpose and values and the importance of getting back to your values and your purpose when you are making decisions. And that you're saying at the core of everything is human digital. I mean, you're human centric, which means it's most important for you to take care of all the people. That and what kind of strategies did you guys decide to do so you can?
so in this case, obviously, you should decide. In our case, it's part of our DNA. People feel it. They know that they can count on us. We are recognized as a mother-friendly agency, which is not that easy for many agencies. People know that sometimes you have it's a little bit harder,
What is a
or
mother friendly agency?
it means that really mothers would be the ones generating content and referring that, wow, it's a mother friendly place. So people can go, the Bulgarian people can go to Alex Jandeva's blog and see the interviews with four mothers at Xplora, and then they can check my interview there, why we are mother friendly. Actually, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, I would not say we are mother friendly, but because we are putting effort, we are there. So going back to the topic, and Alex is one of the graduates from Xplora Academy, and she has three kids, and she managed to graduate and to do everything in an amazing way. And now she's about to be featured on national TV as an example, and so on. So Alex Jandava is really very inspiring one. So going back to the topic, we decided that we are going to have that strategy and approach towards the team, and we will be over communicating to them. So we know that one. And we had every single week a meeting with them saying, this is the situation, this is the approach, this is what we are discussing with the managers, or this is what we will jointly do. And it helped a lot. It's our responsibility, our extreme responsibility. So the next thing is, of course, you have the other part. If you are mentioning these ones, then you have partners. So in the current age, you're not doing everything on your own. So obviously you have the technology solutions and you have the partners. In our case, we decided that all our partners need our support. So we decided that they will be not the ones to suffer from whatever is happening in terms of uncertainty. So we continue to paying in advance, or on the very same day they would issue us
That's
an invoice.
suppliers, those kind of like yeah. It means
Yes,
suppliers,
it,
people
it
that you
means
hire for
uh,
different
so.
services.
I believe that being part of the startup ecosystem, you know very well the business model canvas and so on. So some of the suppliers, they would be your key partners, and for these key partners, obviously, but we did it for all of our partners. So all of our suppliers. So they would fall under. cost structure. So these are people that were just buying whatever. It could be print services, it could be whatever. So we decided that they will not suffer unless there's a master change. And they did not. And it was our commitment to them, and I hope we help them with that one. Then we discussed with you that sometimes you need to adjust your processes, and we agreed what we are going to change or not to change. So we did a lot of effort in terms of supporting people, in terms of supporting specific people, in terms of having ready-made templates towards clients, towards partners, and so on. So we put a lot of effort towards altering the processes so that we can once again not be Rambos. So I'm sending 5 emails. Toyan is sending 5 emails. No, we did
We have
it
a general. We have a
very very.
general.
Uh, Somebody asked me what was your dream as a kid. I dreamt to be a general. Then I did studies, international business, and then EMBA at the American University in Bulgaria. And I believe that all of these prepared me to be a general. And I believe that I'm living my dream now.
Yeah, so we have situation. We do analysis. How is the situation? Then
And
the
we have
second
the
part is
agreement on that one,
strategy.
Stoyan, not just the analysis, yeah, and the agreement about the situation.
And the agreement about the situation. Then we have strategy.
Yeah.
If you could summarize the strategy, so we can move to the third one.
For the strategy, we decided it should be a master strategy, and then you should have approach by the specific aspects, so clients, people, partners, processes, whatever you decide is key within your business model.
And
And then
obviously, is important part. The third step, which is
the third step, I leave it for you to tell it, and I will plug in the power supply. Just 10 seconds, and you
a,
can say because you want
for
it to
sure.
break. You want it actually to break the model. I remember, and you want it not to have it as an S, but have two words. So please introduce.
Yes, absolutely. So the first one, once again, is the situation. The second one is strategy. The third one is steps ahead. Okay, it's again a S, but so it's the steps. What are the next steps? And it's a very simple model, but it could be really useful. Once again, if you are faced with a difficult situation, to break it down in these simple three steps. Okay, what's the situation? What is our strategy based on the information we have today? And then steps ahead.
Why steps ahead? Because this is the only thing actually you can plan, and this is the only thing you can execute. So I we discussed with you. I'm CPIM, which is certified in production and inventory management, and it's like CFA for financial analysts, but in terms of operations planning and management. So I very much like the concept there, which if you're thinking about an auto vehicle production factory, you should have, if an order is dispatched, so that car should go out of the production line, you should have planned everything so that it happens. So you should have you should have the dashboards, you should have all the seats and so on, and you should have the resources there so that you can deliver and execute. And one of the issues, unfortunately, not only in times of crisis, but in many businesses, is we agree on steps and we are not either believing in these steps or we are not following through. It was eye-opening for me and for my team when we had 5 marketing directors of really huge multinational companies or leaders on the Bulgarian market who said, you are amazing because you are delivering 100% of what has been agreed. How come it's amazing? No, you should do it. So if you have agreed on something, it's like you have a car and you don't have the tires or you don't have the motor for the vehicle, so the engine for the vehicle. So Next step is very important because this is what you have agreed upon. Then you know, you can assess were these the right steps. Can I actually commit that these steps can be executed, and then we know whether we're executing or not. The more uncertain it is, the more small paced these steps are,
This is
obviously.
this is such an important point, and keeping in mind that usually when such a crisis hits, we might be under resourced, right? Like it might be that you have to, as you said, you have to cut out, some people or hours. So you probably have less resources in terms of, I don't know, people or funds. If you're in B2B, maybe your clients are delaying payments. So, but you have to perform, and that's why it's super important to define through this strategization, if we can say that word. You want to prioritize. What are the few things that matter most at the moment? What are the next steps? Who's doing what? And then you got to perform.
Yeah, I really a very good a fan of Jock Willing's concept about extreme ownership. I even wrote the uh, afterword of the for the book of the Bulgarian edition. So another part of winning the so out of the so you have win the battle within with three approaches. Then you have the winning the battle part, which is we covered simple. Then you have prioritizing, and then there's an amazing concept cover and move. Actually, one of the key issues, and that's why I stressed in terms of situation, in terms of strategy, and then in terms of steps, is that you need to all the times to cover somebody for that person to move. So if you are thinking about the Navy SEALs, I am the one to cover you, so you can move to a to the next position, and it goes in the business as well. So next, what we cover, situation, strategy, and steps is very important because people will rely on what I have committed, what I will be delivering. So you either covering and moving, and you are progressing that way, or you are what you said, just strategizing. And I'm very good at strategizing, and the next time the crisis hits, I'm going to be even better at strategizing and planning and so on. No, it doesn't happen that way. You either did things that you would like to repeat and that delivered results, or you are really a very good strategizing person. My profile is very on the part of planning, taking ownership, and then executing. My personal profile is that you either did the extra effort, you either did the right action, or you didn't do anything.
Yeah, it's very easy. We're talking here on the podcast, theoretically putting frameworks and so on. But the truth is, when something happens, especially if it's something major, I mean, the previous episode with Howard Bihar, he was sharing this story about somebody coming into a Starbucks store and shooting three people. They died. Like you can't predict and expect these kind of things. So you have to find this strength. You have to find this courage to show up and do the right thing, as he mentioned there. Um, I love actually one of your blog posts, Georgi. You mentioned this somewhere. I don't even know if you remember, but you say taking action decreases your stress.
Obviously. Uh, and it could be you received bad feedback. It could be you have one of your clients delivering harsh feedback. It could be you losing a client and so on. Obviously, the moment you analyze the situation, think about the strategy, and then start doing things, it will hugely reduce your stress. And the most important of all, it will make you stronger for every next time. So I have an amazing friend, Tihomir Stanev. He's an insurance broker, and we are within a mastermind group, and he says he has made a habit for him. Whatever happens, shit happens, especially if shit happens. Oh, that's amazing. And what he says is he doesn't know why it's going to be amazing, but it's an amazing habit. Oh, that's amazing. And then you start realizing that the way you approach a situation is very important. So that's amazing. I will be able to, the way I told you with the emergency room at the regional hospital for Sofia, the capital of Bulgaria. Actually, obviously, that woman was not going to die in the bathrooms, but I could help her, and then I could improve my skills. So I would strongly suggest, at least for you to try. Oh, that's amazing. Whatever shit happens. So it's an opportunity for you to test yourself, an opportunity to improve your skills and to become better. Can I refer to that one?
Go for it, Georgi.
Okay, so we call us superhumans because you saw human digital, and then you are superhuman. It doesn't mean you have super strengths. It means that you're just superhuman. So in there you can find something. I took it part
Is
of
that
it.
a journal? What is that? Is that a notebook, a journal?
Yes, it's a journal. Okay, you can take notes, but the most important part is you have 26 pages like that one. So, of course, obviously, you have the time period. And then here you have how would you assess the time period. But then you have four very important areas. The
Okay.
very first one is I rocked it. I was amazing cat. So people sometimes are, it was okay. I was okay. Obviously, you don't put that thing here. I rocked it. It was amazing. It should have been amazing. And you
Okay.
can be actually in times of crisis. You can be amazing in many things. I personally went to many homes of my people from my team to help them, be it with cash funding, be it with medical supplies, whatever. We had people who were, of course, within quarantine, and then we taught how to make them really feel loved, appreciated, and so on. So we did many things.
What are
Here,
the other three?
here you have I learned and I tested. It's amazing because actually you cannot all the times rock. You grow actually by learning new skills, testing new things, and it's very funny because we have it's something our team does either here, but they all of them they have an online spreadsheet where they're filling for the week. So many
Hmm.
people would put here in the I learned and tasted part amazing things. It means that they're understanding that they're growing and so on. So one of my suggestions is in times of crisis, be aware that here you should have a lot of things to place. Here you have I was hampered by I will improve. Yes, Tuyan, you did not share the life on Facebook, so I was not able to share it and so on. Okay, I will improve that one. Or I didn't prepare to be able, as you the way you suggested, to share the life. So yes, it happened. Can you go back? No. So it's very important to have a place where you can take that one. It relieves the stress, but it makes you goal oriented or task oriented because next time you'll do it here or here. And the final one, it's an amazing one. It's I will give appreciation to somebody for, and it's amazing because it could be your colleague who helped you. It could be a client who did an extra effort. Many people say the part of the appreciation, gratitude is very important. In our case, it's amazing because you can see people who are more on the administration part or people who are more on the training part. They're starting to get their appreciation and gratitude, and it's amazing in that part.
No, I love it. I love it. Journaling in such a structure. And once again, Georgi, what was the name of the journal? People can find it, or is
Yes,
that,
you can.
or is
You can. The name
or is
of the
that?
journal is
Just tell me the name because we're running,
a
with the time.
superhuman.
Superhuman growth here, guys. Go check it out. But otherwise, of course, you can join
Uh,
yourself. I want to move on, Georgi, because there's so many
go
things I
go.
want to cover. So, and of course. This book, well, that's not this book. This is the first book. The book that's coming is, I want it to be relevant for the people who actually going to read it. And so let's take a question from Iskra, and then we can maybe combine it with the other two frameworks you want to share. But
Yeah.
Iskra, the first question she asked: are there different strategies for businesses at different stages of their growth, of different scales? For instance, solopreneurs, SMEs, enterprises. I think she refers to in times of crisis.
Yeah. Okay. Maybe we can cover now the two frameworks, and it will be easier to take that one. It's a great question, and I will try to be as practical as possible. One of the frameworks refers to your clients, how they are affected or not by whatever is happening. The second framework relates to the your relationship and the stage of your relationship with these companies. So these frameworks will help us have a model for covering
So would you recommend,
the.
when a major challenge or a crisis hits, to sit together with your partners and to kind of um, see where your clients are in these different areas?
Oh, the good thing about frameworks is that they give you a structure to think about, and most of the times they're not a one-off exercise. So once again, you should do a lot of situation analysis and gathering data and agreeing upon. So I'm doing a PhD now in economics, and I had a class in statistics, and it's an amazing discipline because it gives you the understanding what we are discussing in marketing about segments, whatever, is that actually you have clusters. So a cluster are people who have very similar characteristics, and they can be grouped based on these. So in this case, the also people who stay late and so on. The very same goes with clients. So during COVID times, one of our most popular articles was about the three types of clients that and people that you would have. It was on a very personal, individual basis, but you can refer to clients as well. So the first one were the transformed people. So it was like Stoyan having a hashtag like hiking or air guitar playing. So all of, I guess, the people who are listening now and watching now, they were transformed. So it,
We're talking now as an example the COVID-19 pandemic, right? Like, which affected
yes,
the
yes.
major part of the population.
Because I'm teaching classes in three universities and we're delivering a lot of corporate trainings. So the idea is that when people have felt it and can relate on a personal level, they got it, they get it. Otherwise, it's a concept developed by whoever and so on. The idea is people who are transformed, and I guess more all of us, the ones who will be watching and are watching that this video, we were transformed. So it took us not a lot of time to understand what the situation is, to decide on our strategy and start taking steps. So if you think about the hashtags that happened, that's what. Then we have the people who are uh, I would say altered or
Affected. Affected is the second
the
one.
people who are affected. So the people who are affected, they are affected. So they have a relative who might lose her or his job. They have their company could have cost cuts and so on. I'm sure you had friends like that one. So in when I was speaking about companies, the very same goal. So these are companies who understand that there will be a kind of
Maybe
uh,
their sector is being affected, and that will affect them.
or they could have a major client who is affected and so on. So for these people, you should be very clear about how you are going to add value so they can be successful in that challenge and aspect. So they are not from the third group, which unfortunately is distressed. So there were people who were laid off. There were people who were not on a labor contract. They went out of resources. So there were really people who were distressed. For
Yeah,
these
companies
people,
that are at the brink of bankruptcy or something. Yeah, that would be
either personal safety and so on. For these people, the only thing that would matter is safety and survival.
survival.
So for these people, you decide whether you can provide something or not. So for these people, you create a very clear offering and you offer it. For
And this is
for
basic,
the
right? This is the something that bread and
it's very
butter.
survival. So it's like you need your website not to crash down. So we will give you that plan so that you are
Have you,
not.
Georgi? Just as a question here, have you done any sort of a pro bono work for some customers that you had for a long time, but now they're in a really bad situation? So you're like, you know what, we will do that for you. I know you guys cannot pay us, but you're in for the relationship, and you still kind of support them. Have you had these
No, if
situations?
you're speaking long term, no. If you're speaking when faced with a challenge, yes. So
I mean, in a,
for
in a major crisis for a client that you really care about, and you had a great relationship for years, and now something hits and they are really in a bad situation, let's say financially. That's the situation. I mean, that you know,
It once again it depends on the situation. So we had a couple of clients for whom we actually wrote an email. As I told you, it was a structured email that we could send to a couple of clients, saying we are actually granting you that number of hours, and you will not pay to us. And
love
this
it.
is something we can do within our business model and so on. To your question, no, we are not offering just for the sake of whatever offering that thing. So we cherry picked which clients and we understood what's their challenge. One of them was the Sofia Opera and Ballet, and obviously they were shut down. So they were not able to get their funding because the funding comes out of the number of tickets that they have sold and performances that they had. But that helped them make a digital transformation and so on. So for a couple of clients, yes, we did it. Then when it was time for our Christmas presents, we actually granted a voucher which was offering 3 hours of work. They could use it on their own or grant to a distressed company.
Mm,
So it was okay.
nice.
You could be affected, you could be distressed. It's up to you to decide whether you are granting that voucher to another company or you're going to use it. But to your question, we don't believe that on the long run you can do something like suppose that you are distressed, so I'll be just offering you some hours. It would not help. So it would help the way we discussed with you, either offering something that is relevant to these people and they can live with that one, or the other part is for the people who are actually somehow in a kind of trouble but not distressed. For them, you can actually reframe your value proposition and offer something that is relevant enough, like what is happening on the market, who are the clients, your clients who are performing in a way that would be relevant to you. So in that time we granted a lot of insight and free additional information for them in terms of what we are seeing in terms of behavior and actually how short it will take for people to adjust. Because when the crisis hits, you are really very focused on that one. You see the how things have changed. But within a month, within 2 months, you have already adapted to that situation. So it's very important for you for that one. So we covered the model. I believe it's very useful and it
Yeah,
answers
and
how.
once again, I'm going to summarize it because people are like, there's the three type of people or companies: transformed, affected, distressed, and you make a strategy of how you're going to collaborate or support or work with these type of companies or people. Okay, since the time is going, and I want to cover one more question from Iskra. We
Can
can
we
go.
cover the second model, please, so that
Let's do that, but do it very shortly so we can
okay.
kind of get into the time
Yeah,
because I want to cover
yeah.
the last
So
question. So
you're
Georgi,
the
give
one
me the second one.
you're the one who enjoys the examples and going deeper.
And look, I can
Okay,
go
so
for 7 hours. Go ahead. Give me the
okay,
three.
so that's why I told you that I'm trying to limit the meetings with Stoyan. Okay, so going back to the topic, actually, there's another matrix that you could look at, and it's the face of the relationship of your company with your clients. And so the first the one is your loyal clients. So they're the ones who actually know what you're doing. They're already paying, and you can start testing new value propositions, new offerings, and so on. And very important, they will give you the cash flow that you need. So these are the very important, the most important. This is the most important audience that you should never discard. And very important thing to mention here, your loyal clients most probably will become the target for another competitor unless you're working with them. So for you, it's a huge opportunity if you have a distressed competitor to start working for the clients of that competitor. But on your case, it's very important for you because it both grants you the financial stability, the way you can secure it, and the second part is testing new offerings and so on. Then you have the other two layers, people with very strong intent. So these are people, the way I told you, they have watched uh, how to choose the best mattress for home for 7 minutes, or they have gone through how to choose a heating system of whatever type. So and they went through 7 pages, and then they came through direct traffic and so on. So these people, they are giving you a very strong signal, a very strong intent. In the middle between the high intent and the loyal are the self-segmented people, the way we discussed just in a while. So these are people who already have shown you, I'm in the segment of people who are transformed, or they're giving you the signal, I'm willing to try something free from you. So marketing, Stoyan asked me about the predictions and so on. Marketing is full of assumptions. Actually everything is an assumption. Even if you go on a green light, it's an assumption that you're not going to be hit by a car. But actually it's very important for you to think about people, how they would self-segment themselves. So for the people who are not fluent in Bulgarian, you can go. We have an article on our website. I took the model from a workshop from two amazing guys from Google. The idea about having an early value predictor. So it means that for every specific audience segment, which is the best predictor that you can think about. And delivering a lot of workshops, of trainings, onboarding many clients, and creating, we have done over 35 strategies from the start of the year. Now we are seeing that most companies would have a very clear, mostly intuitive early value predictor for a specific audience, and then they would not have for other segments and audiences. So this would be a very useful model for them. So once again, high intent people, audiences, then you have the self-segmented audiences, and of course the loyal audiences. There you go.
There you go.
So
We got the three. Let's
Iskra
get
to
let's
your,
get a question from Iskra. I think it's a great way to
yeah,
wrap up this episode.
yeah,
And once again, we're gonna have a lot more live sessions like this one. Everyone who's listening, make sure to subscribe to Productivity Mastery and on LinkedIn especially, and
yeah.
stay tuned for more episodes where you can join, ask questions, and be a part of this whole journey of creating the book. But hey, Iskra, thank you so much for this question. So the question number 2, she says, is what are the qualities a leader should develop to be able to handle crisis situations, business related and human force related? What are the qualities?
The short answer is be able to do 12 pull-ups. No, I'm joking. Actually, so I believe Fisker saw the power of that model. So I would say we start with once again, as we said, with the situation. So you should assess your strengths and weaknesses. Actually, if you put personality style in Bulgarian in search, among top three results, you have a blog post from my blog, malchev.net. And you can translate it in English, of course. So I have given my personal example. I'm a consul, which means that I'm very willing to help people, and I'm sure that it's up to me to take the action. And then I would be very upset if I did not help people. So some things of this you can grasp are helping me and some are hampering me. So it's very important for you to know your profile. And if you are in the 70, 80, 90 percentile of a specific feature, you are not going to change. It's very important for you to understand the strengths of that profile and the drawbacks of that one. So you don't need to copycat anybody's style and so on. It's your style, and whatever is intuitive for you, whatever you are improving, it's going to be felt by people. The second part, leaders, they're consistent. So one of the most important things is people are constantly looking for signals. Is this a person I can trust? Does that person have my personal interest on their view? So my profile helps for that one. But if I can give you a hint, really the leader should make everything possible, once again from Joko's book, to make the mission of the team successful. So you should make very clear what is the mission and then deliver on that one. So it's very, very clear. The mission could be to make our client successful, the way we are saying. And then because if you are not making your client successful, you cannot preserve your team. And then making the client successful means that you are helping your team improve their skills, feeling comfortable, feeling protected, being rewarded for their efforts and so on. So it's very, very easy. And once again, being consistent when showing by action to the team that you are helping them be successful.
And if I can add on top of that, which is I think amazing, thanks Georgi. Self-awareness, consistency, connecting to the mission. I would say the ability to remain calm and with a cool head when the fire is burning. And then it's related to the courage to do the right thing. Because for the most part, we know what the right thing is, but sometimes we don't have the guts to do it. The right thing sometimes is the hard thing, right? Like it could be a financially short-term really bad decision, right? But it's the right thing because it's connected to your values. So I think this consistency, as you're talking about, to do the right thing, to have the courage to show up and from a place of strength communicate, tell the truth, but not from a place of victim where you're kind of stressing everybody out, but from a place of strength. And I think maybe also being able to paint hope, the better future, the vision. Hey guys, it's gonna be hard, but I'll tell you what, if we go through that, this is where we're gonna be. This kind of consistently reminding people about where we should be and giving them hope, but of course not saving them all the circumstances. Like it's gonna be hard. Maybe it might be a situation we have to lay off some people, and we don't want to do that. But hey, if we come together, I do believe we can go through a storm. So that's what I will add as my 2 cents. So thank you so much, Iskra, for being with us once again. Thanks everybody for listening, for being joining us live on the streams or listening to the podcast. You can always go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, all the other platforms. Subscribe, share the episode with a friend if that's something that they'll benefit from. And just to wrap up this episode, Georgi, once again, thank you so much for being here with us. in a minute, if you can, where could people get in touch with you, find you, read your blog posts, and get in touch with Xplora so you can guys support them?
Okay, so the easiest part for you is to put in Georgi Malchev. Actually, there's a knowledge panel on my name on Google. it's it's a nice part recognizing people's intent. So a lot of searches on my name. The easiest part for you is to connect with me on LinkedIn. I have already 7,500 followers, and I don't know how many contacts. So it's the easiest part for you. I have a LinkedIn newsletter, which is Explore Marketing with Georgi Malchev. I believe you'll like it. If you liked what we have discussed, actually, we have a lot of blog posts on that one on Explorer's website. And as I told you, they are very Google conversational style. So you start diving into a specific content pillar, you're starting to enjoy it, then you click for more information, resources, and so on. If you, the way Stoyan suggested, are thinking about the human aspect of leading people, you can see on Explorer's website. Once again, we are recognized as having an amazing employee value proposition and doing amazing things in terms of employer branding. So you can see a lot of things that we are doing, and whoever drops me a line with his or her idea about our content pillars as an agency, I'll be more than happy to make a gift. So it could be one of these or discuss whatever would be of use to you.
Thank you so much, Georgi. Thanks for sharing all the insights. And to everybody listening, thanks for being with us. See you once again the next episode of Productivity Mastery, Perform in Times of Crisis. Ciao.